Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent demolished the New York Times during an appearance at their own summit, where he ripped apart the publication, calling them a fever swamp for their reporting on Donald Trump's health.
The question is, is this like a new normal?
That, Andrew, there's no new normal, and I can tell you that I actually don't read the New York Times anymore. That sometimes I do watch CNBC. But occasionally people send me articles, and there's just this fever swamp. And you're now a pop historian with 1929, and in 20, 30, 40, 50 years, the New York Times is no longer the paper of record. You can't go. I read this article. President Trump is slowing down. President Trump's mental capacity. It is 100% fake. That he only called me twice at 2 a.m. last week instead of 3 times.
You're saying he called you? I believe that he called you at 2 or 3 in the morning.
That whole narrative. You had what was one of the greatest scandals of all time. That the coverage of the Biden administration, Joe Biden's diminished capacity, and the cover-up.
And that's why it's probably fair to raise these questions.
Where was the New York Times? We just had a 3-hour cabinet meeting yesterday, Andrew. For 10 months, the Biden administration did not have a cabinet meeting. How are you going to invoke the 25th Amendment if the cabinet secretaries never see the president, which they didn't? That I hear from people in the Treasury building that I see President Trump more in a day than my predecessor saw Joe Biden in half a year.
Online commentators applauded Bessent's candor, with this person saying, "As someone in attendance, it was a bit of refreshing honesty that many appreciated." And this person agreed, saying, "Great to see Treasury Secretary Bessent humiliate the fake news like this. We need more of this." The takedown comes after Trump's MRI results were revealed in detail by Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt, who confirmed the president is in optimal health.
Overall, his cardiovascular system shows excellent health. His abdominal imaging is also perfectly normal. All major organs appear very healthy and well perfused. Everything evaluated is functioning within normal limits with no acute or chronic concerns.
And the president doubled down on this, saying his MRI results were perfect and he will happily release them, whilst taking a dig at the mainstream media.
They asked about my MRI. MRIs are very...
Can you tell us what it was
Governor Walz, the incompetent governor. So if they want to release it, it's okay with me to release it. It's perfect. It's like my phone call where I got impeached. It's absolutely perfect. So if you want to hear about it or if you want to release it, you want to have it released. News Nation, failing News Nation. News Nation is doing lousy, by the way. But if you want to have it released, I'll release it.
Sounds like they were looking at.
Oh, what, release it?
No. What part of your body was the MRI looking at?
I have no idea. It was just an MRI. What part of the body? It wasn't the brain because I took a cognitive test and I aced it. I got perfect mark, which you would be incapable of doing. Not everybody, you do.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Trump's confirmation of his good health comes after Tim Walz made a bizarre claim during an NBC television interview that the president is fading, whilst trying to distract from the massive fraud allegations that are currently being thrown at him.
Well, here we got a guy on Thanksgiving where we spent time with our families, we ate, we played Yahtzee, we cheered for football or whatever. This guy is apparently in a room ranting about everything else. This is not normal behavior. It is not healthy. And presidents throughout time have released a couple things. They've released their tax returns, not Donald Trump, and they've released their medical records, not Donald Trump. And look, the MRI is one thing, but I think what's most concerning about this is, as your viewers out there are listening, has anyone in the history of the world ever have an MRI assigned to them and have no idea what it was for, as he says? So look, it's clear the president's fading physically. I think the mental capacity, again, ranting, crazily at midnight on Thanksgiving about everything else, there's reasons for us to be concerned. This is a guy that randomly says the airspace over Venezuela is closed. He's ruminating on if you could win a nuclear war. Look, this is a serious position. It's the most powerful position in the world. And we have someone at midnight throwing around slurs that demonize our children. At the same time, he's not solving any of the problems. So I'm deeply concerned that he is incapable of doing the job.
Donald Trump's health has been a topic of conversation for the mainstream media for the entirety of his term. But CNN's Scott Jennings says there's nothing to see here.
About it, there's no question. I mean, he attacked Katie Rogers of the New York Times for the article that she wrote, and the cabinet meeting, one of the reasons it went on so long today was he did a whole treatise on his health. And so he's clearly,
Have you ever met a 79-year-old man that wasn't? I'm just saying.
I'm just saying.
He's constantly being pinged. He's constantly being attacked unfairly for having something wrong. There's nothing wrong with this man. He's clearly fine, and he's up all hours of the night communicating with the American people, and yet he still has to face these ridiculous attacks.
Scott,
he might be sensitive too.
You may be right, but we certainly don't know it from his medical reports.
And it seems Trump is also sick of it, unleashing on reporters for questioning him about his health, whilst giving Joe Biden a free pass despite clear cognitive decline during his presidency.
But you always find something new, like, is he in good health? Biden was great, but is Trump in good health? I sit here, I do 4 news conferences a day. I ask questions from very intelligent lunatics, you people. I give the right answers. There's never a scandal. There's never a problem. I give you answers that solve your little problems. You go back and you can't find anything, but you do stories about Biden was in wonderful health. The guy didn't do a news conference for 8 months. If I go one day, I had one day where I didn't do a news conference, there's something wrong with the president. You people are crazy. I'll let you know when there's something wrong. There will be someday. That's going to happen to all of us. But right now, I think I'm sharper than I was 25 years ago, but who the hell knows?